Hey everyone, I'm Instructor Brooks, and in this video, part of our series on teaching fallacies, I'm going to talk to you about the fallacy of different learning styles. So if you're ready to learn something, let's go. All right, guys, so what is the fallacy of learning styles? Well, this refers to the idea that students learn best when course content is pitched to match the student's self-reported learning preference or media preference. Well, we'll talk about the different types. But this is from Yale, okay? Yale University or University of Yale, whichever it is. This is from Yale. So pretty smart people have probably been studying this. So why does this happen? Well, students have developed subjective preferences for studying or digesting the material have been marketed by the consumer industry as beneficial to student learning. So they've just been told that, hey, you have a learning style, what is it? So how prominent is the theory of learning styles? Well, in 29 states, government-distributed test preparation materials on high-stakes certification exams include the debunked theory of learning styles. So over half the country, even at the government level, believe in the fallacy of different learning styles. So we've all heard this before. What type of learner are you? Are you visual? Are you auditory? Or are you kinesthetic? And in our teaching profession, most of our students have probably said what? Kinesthetic. Isn't that interesting when it's like really hard sometimes to like get them up to do lab stuff or exercise? But remember, they're kinesthetic learners. All right, we've all heard this before, and you've all apparently figured out which one you are. So what does the research say? Well, the research says pretty much there is no evidence that designing lessons that appeal to different learning styles accelerates the student learning process. So students are not suffering because the teacher's not teaching to their style. That's not that's not true. So now, why doesn't it work? Because you're probably sitting there thinking, I mean, if you're like me, I mean, my entire, until I went to college, I was pretty successful in school, and I thought I had a learning style, right? Even in college, I thought I had a learning style. So not until I became an educator did I really understand that, right? So why doesn't it work? Remember, the thing I talked about earlier is that it doesn't accelerate learning. Okay, it's not helping anyone by doing it. It's just a thing you're doing, and you think it's helping, but it's not. So why doesn't the theory of learning styles actually work to accelerate education? Well, learning psychologist Christian Jarrett said, the individually preferred way of learning is often a bad predictor of the way people learn most effectively, okay? What people prefer is often not what is best for them. Think about it. People usually want the path of least resistance. What's the easiest thing? And if you watched our video on the appeal to tradition, then you'll start to see why, well, that's just the thing that I know and it's easy. Okay? So, of course, people are going to pick the one, kinesthetic's great. Oh, so I don't have to write papers, right? That's what it means? I just get to do activity? See? Self-fulfilling prophecy is what that is. All right, so we know there's a problem. How do we fix it? How do we combat the fallacy of learning styles? Well, what you need to do is you need to use a broad approach to teaching that invites students to reflect on learning techniques rather than narrowing their studying style down to some self-determined preference. So what it's really saying here is that you got to just zest class up with a lot of variety, a broad scope of things, hands-on, visual, and auditory, all combined. So now here's a list of learning techniques to really promote a more holistic approach to learning that breaks away from the fallacy of learning styles. And I use this in all of my assignments and all day in class. Spaced repetition is huge. Writing, observing, discussing, practicing, role-playing, debates, symposiums, creations, all types of different things. Drawing. I challenge students on tests and in the classroom from handwriting to drawing to speaking. I make them do all the different things. So using these techniques is key to breaking away from the fallacy of learning styles. So what's the call to action? Well, of course, you can do it all on your own. This only took me, decades of teaching and studying and research to figure out best practices, plus help from my team and researchers to tell me all the stuff that I'm telling you. So you can do all that yourself, or you can go to instructorbrooks.com, click on Transform Your Classroom, have a free meeting and consultation with me. We'll talk about your class, and we'll see how best the Instructor Brooks campus can change you and your classroom so you can be a great teacher, live your best life, and see better results and have fun. Catch you in the next video, which will be our last in this series at least as the time we're making this playlist, the great accountability fallacy.